Subaru, a car manufacturer that is known for making motors with pistons that don't go up and down, they go sideways, and sometimes the head gaskets on those little weird motors fail. Then their owners are stuck, holding their monster in one hand and vape in the other hand, wondering if they should buy a third motor for their WRX. All jokes aside, Subaru has a rich history full of all sorts of good, bad, and ugly. So let's jump in and learn a little bit more about Subaru. Starting with the good, Subaru is okay making vehicles that can seem a little bit odd on the surface, but are actually really cool and practical when you think about it. The two that come to mind for me right away are the Subaru Brat. I said it. The Subaru Brat and the Subaru Baja. Whoa, I started the good with these before the WRX. Well, you know what? Subaru can be a little quirky, and that's what I absolutely love about them. Both the Brat and the Baja combine the practicality of a car with the practicality of a truck. Both of these vehicles were relatively small, could deliver power to all four wheels, and that keeps the party going even when you're off-road or in some inclement weather. The Brat, I almost said it. Subaru Brat, the Brat. We're in Wisconsin, the Subaru Brat. The Brat came out way back in 1978. It was actually in production through 1994. The Baja was a spiritual successor to the Brat and debuted in 2003, only to be unblasted, that's a Baja joke, in 2006. Another good part of Subaru, and one you're probably familiar with, is the WRX. Within this category, I'll throw the Impreza-based models in here along with the dedicated WRX editions of the car that we're currently at now. These cars are extremely practical and fun to drive. The practicality portion is important because that allowed Subaru to move some serious units and keep the WRX going from one form or another since 1992 until today. It's a super long run that many car models just don't see. The car has evolved from a trim level to a dedicated model on its own, but the essence of what makes the WRX a WRX has remained throughout the years. That means it's a fun to drive, all-wheel drive car with a peppy power plant that lets you rev it out and still have fun. These cars have also been modded like nobody's business. It's nearly impossible to find a used WRX for sale that hasn't been fiddled with in some sort of way. Trust me, I was looking for one for a long time and I couldn't find one, so I bought a Tacoma. It's totally different, but I just couldn't find a nice WRX. The three little letters of STI also need to be mentioned as well. If you don't want to modify your WRX to be a little better, Subaru offers something from the factory with the STI trim level to suit those needs. I did a whole video before on if the STI is worth it over the WRX, if you're wondering, but I gotta say that STIs are just ultra cool. This is the closest you could get to a factory rally car from Subaru, and STIs are considered to be toward the top of the JDM cool list. I mentioned that the STI being close to a rally car is something that's good. Subaru's involvement in motorsports, and specifically rally racing, is one of the best parts of the company. There are some very iconic Subarus that competed in World Rally Championships. For me, Colin McRae's World Rally Blue Impreza can't be beat when it comes to some non-Group B rally cars as far as being iconic and some of my favorite cars. Rally is also important specifically because it's such a difficult form of racing. It's not just difficult on the drivers, it's also difficult on the cars. If you aren't familiar with rally racing, it's basically trying to get from point A to point B with a faster time than anyone else. This is also on public roads in every sort of weather condition imaginable, like snow, rain, sleet, freezing rain, all that stuff. Also, a lot of those roads aren't paved, so you're on dirt and sometimes snow. What this means is that rally racing is extremely hard on the cars, like I said, and their individual components on the cars. Subaru's involvement in rally racing, improving the durability and capability of their cars, 100% helped them sell WRXs and STIs. Those same cars were also raced in grassroots level rally races themselves. One last thing on the good, in my opinion, is the boxer engine from Subaru, and those crazy folks keep putting that in production cars. I know, this is controversial. We'll mention some of the downsides of this motor later in the bad or ugly section. The good, though, is that the way traditional inline or V-oriented engines sit in a car lends to a much higher center of gravity and sometimes a little bit of a weird weight distribution, especially when going through corners and really tossing the car around. This creates less than desirable handling characteristics in those V or inline type motors. The Boxer platform allows for some decent power in a small package. One of the reasons that a lot of airplanes actually use this configuration. Let's move on to some of the not so great aspects of Subaru, in my opinion. So here comes the bad. You remember how excited I was when I talked about Subaru's involvement in racing? Well, that's more of a historical thing because they sure aren't as involved today as they used to be. Subaru isn't even competing in WRC right now, like at all. Subaru does compete in rallycross here in the States with some factory-backed drivers like Travis Pastrana, might have heard of him, but Rallycross just isn't the same as stage rally. And that lack of motorsports involvement leads me to my next bad point on Subaru. The WRX has become fat. Like, really fat. The WRX used to be a nimble car that was relatively small. The previous, just previous, and the current generations of the WRX are pretty damn big. Without even looking at numbers and just looking at these cars or sitting in them yourselves, they're huge compared to what they used to be. The lack of a WRX present in true rally has also turned this into a bit of a pavement princess without as much off-road clearance, and frankly looks weird when the current ones are lifted. Also, lifted Subarus, in my opinion, are cooler than just slammed ones because rally spec cars are dope. The WRX and STI's competitor, the Evo, started to get chunky first, but then when the Evo just disappeared, the buttons really started popping off the pants of the WRX, and that gut was just flowing out. Yeah, a bigger car leads to more practicality and sales, but it's also just not the same fun, nimble car that everyone knew and loved. The last bad mark I want to give Subaru is just what we didn't get here in the United States. This is probably true for every Japanese manufacturer, but for Subaru, I've got two vehicles in particular. The first one on this list is a 22B. Only 424 of these cars were ever made, so I know that chances of me getting one or anyone getting one in general are really low, but it's things that we never had the chance. Honestly, this being a larger scale production car would have done really well, and the demand for it, even when it was out, was huge. This is also the Subaru to have, and it's kind of like the F40 of Subarus. The one I have a real gripe with, though, is the Forester STI. I would buy one of these in a heartbeat. It looks amazing. It has some performance upgrades that make this a seriously practical and fun to drive daily driver. The Forester in the USA was marketed to a way different crowd than WRX, but I think it still would have done well once us Americans realize how good of a car it could be, and it's practical and fun as a daily driver, like I mentioned. Now, let's get to the ugly part of Subaru and look at the gross parts of the company. First of all, it's the stigma. We can't avoid this. I even opened the video with some of this. Right now, as I sit here, I can tell you that vaping is still synonymous with Subaru owners and Monster energy drinks as well. Hoonigan and Cobb access ports has defined a lot of the ownership group with their flat brimmed hats and DC shoes. It always sucks when there's such a heavy stigma associated with certain types of cars and their owners. The Facebook groups can be kind of cringy. My friend Pete, who has an absolutely amazing bug-eyed WRX, says that he hates talking to people within the WRX community because of the stigma and what he'll encounter. All these stigmas do is put ownership of a certain car on an island, and it kind of stops the rest of us from seeing the awesome parts of the car and enjoying them or experiencing them. Next is the fact that there is no STI in the current generation of WRX. As of filming this, Subaru still has not said what exactly they're going to do with the next generation of the STI, or really the future of the STI, except it's gonna be powered by batteries. Yeah, we don't get some batshit insane final crazy version of a swan song of an STI for a send-off. And that just sucks. It just disappeared. The STI just stopped, and we didn't know that was gonna happen. In my opinion, Subaru really did this as a disservice to their fans and the automotive community to chase the dollars, and I'm kind of mad about it. The final ugly thing for Subaru is the big one you all have been waiting for, and you've been making jokes probably in the comments already: reliability. Well, the lack of reliability. Now, you're probably sitting there saying, Sam, you praise Subaru for having a boxer engine and having a racing history that proves how great and reliable their cars are. I do think Subaru using a boxer engine is good, and it's for a reason that little four-cylinder does a good job. For racing, yeah, the cars are great and prove that Subaru knows what they are doing. The real problem is when people start messing with these cars, which is everyone. Head gaskets like to go out, especially with some increased boost. The horizontal nature of the boxer motor is prone to head gaskets working against gravity, along with oil in the cylinders wanting to go to one part of the cylinder, which you kind of want it like all in there, not just one spot. The ease of modding comes with a slew of downsides that need to be addressed, or you'll have some more major issues. In my opinion, these boxer motors are best enjoyed in stock form or with some slight bolt-ons and not really messing with that boost, because that's when things start falling apart or blowing up. But in the end, these boxer-equipped cars are not known for lasting a long time, and many owners are on their second or third motor. I know it's kind of a joke, but most Subaru owners I know that have modified their cars have replaced the motor at least once. So that's a look at the good, bad, and ugly of Subaru. Drop a comment down below on what you think I missed, or maybe you disagree with. Let's argue down there together. Appreciate you guys watching. I'm Sam. Peace.